Perhaps the game of Wednesday in the SEC tournament. Texas and Vanderbilt typically don't get many games with a lot on the line on a Wednesday, the first day of the SEC tournament. That's not the case in this one. Vanderbilt's a good team. They've locked up their NCAA tournament bid. Texas is still fighting for one, though, and Vanderbilt, I think, from seeding purposes, could use a little bit more wins, particularly coming off of back-to-back losses to Arkansas and Georgia. Should be a fun game as well, just style of play wise, Dion, and another chance to watch Trey Johnson is another chance to watch Trey Johnson. I'm going to do that. What is the biggest thing you're looking for in this game?
Trey Johnson. Every Texas game. That's my answer for every Texas game. I love watching Trey Johnson play basketball. Um, I think I'm kind of curious though how Vanderbilt's style of play is how transferable it's gonna be to tourney time, whether
Mm.
that's the conference tournament or the NCAA tournament. Because I think, to be completely honest with you, any SEC team that makes it, I feel like they should win the first game, depending on who they get. So I'm kind of curious, like, is his game transfer or is the style of play transferable? Do they have that one dude that can go get him one? I feel like it's Hogard, but I also really don't feel like it's Hogard. With Texas, you don't have to worry about that. Trey Johnson can go get you one.
Yep.
Low key, so can Arthur Kaluma. I hate that I have to say that because I was very harsh on him, but low key he can too.
Mhm.
I think Texas's style plays much more transferable to tourney time, so I feel like I give Texas the edge in this one. So I'm kind of curious what Vandy's reaction is going to be a little bit.
Yeah, there is something with Vandy where they've won 20 games, 8 and 10 in conference play. I think Vandy's a very good team. Certainly overachieved this season, beat expectations. It feels like all of their wins have been close. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have the 10 conference losses, but there haven't been many conference wins where you left feeling like they were definitively the better team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go down the list. Their conference wins were an 8 point win over LSU, three over South Carolina, one over Tennessee, five against Kentucky, eight against Texas, the first time that they played, five against Ole Miss, two against A&M, four in overtime against Missouri. Eight is the most they won a conference game by. Now, one of them was against Texas, but it's not a Vandy team that like blows you out, which I think helps Texas in the sense that you have somebody in Trey Johnson and Tremont Mark too who can take over games and go on individual spurts that can break a game open. Vandy's not the most like spurtable team out there.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is a matchup between a spurtable team that's inconsistent versus a team that's just going to keep chugging along and be pretty consistent, but not necessarily go on giant runs to blow you out.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think that's going to be Vandy's biggest issue, right? Is if Texas goes on a big run because they don't really have that counter punch.
Right.
Um, that's why I'm curious how they're going to react to tournaments because I feel like in tournaments it's a lot of like even in the closest games it's a lot of back and forth runs between the teams, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, yeah, this was a 2 point game, but at one point, Texas went on a 10-0 run to open the lead up to nine, and then you have to respond.
Mhm.
I'm waiting to see what Vanderbilt looks like when they have to respond. We might find out on Wednesday though.
We might. We might. And if you want to take some stock in Vanderbilt, I know I just kind of went through some negatives. Positives are that they are great in those close games and down the
Mm-hmm.
stretch. Texas isn't. Texas isn't. It is Trey Johnson or bust, and Trey Johnson makes a lot of big plays for them. But defensively and around Trey Johnson, they have not been great in those games. And I can blame Ronnie Terry for that because he does not seem to have a plan. Don't always need one with Trey Johnson. But if this game was as close as we expect it to be, you'd like to have a plan and a better track record at the late and close games. Ken Palm has Vanderbilt winning this game 78-77 by one. How do you see this playing out?
I, I just want to say, because you mentioned Rodney Terry and plans, I just want to say, I wonder if Texas has a plan for him, and has a plan for who's next.
I think it
Uh,
involves a buyout. Hit the
yeah,
plan for Rodney Terry.
I think there's a very big plan about who's going to be next. I think there's going to be a team in the Midwest that's going to be really upset if this Texas job becomes available too. By the way, but that's a different discussion for a different day. How much does Ken Palm have Vandy winning by?
One.
Uh, I mean, that would add up with what you said, right? Like it with what you said, that would add up exactly. So you kind of feel like Texas has to win by more than that. I do think Texas wins this game, though. I think Texas wins by 6 or 7 points.
I think Vandy wins by a bucket. I think this is a game that delays our recording of the recap, that throws a wrench into everybody's afternoon plans because it starts at 3:30, probably pushes the night slate of games back, but it's really um, entertaining to watch, both with the closeness and the absurdity of the stupidity of some of the plays. Like this is going to be a very fun college basketball game with an emphasis on the college part. I don't think it's going to be like the most well played. There's going to be some dumb stuff, but there's going to be a lot of big shots hit. That's how I see this playing out. Like we're going to get welcome to the SEC tournament with a banger in this game, but Vandy wins by a bucket.
I can see it. I mean, I the way you described the game, versus what Ken Palm said, that kind of feels like how it's going to go. Fade Dion, back Ralph on this one, I think.
We'll see. I appreciate the vote of confidence, but we'll see.